Hi everybody, this is Dr. Kate Mills, owner of Be Balanced Physical Therapy, and today I just wanted to give you a couple ideas of how to work on people who need a little extra boost to get their sit to stand or stand to sit safely or more independent. What I see largely in my patient population, a lot of stroke and Parkinson's, is the real resistance to forward weight shift, which is even important, actually a little bit more important for safety when you're going from stand to sit, because it looks like this if you don't get enough forward weight shift. Very typical of Parkinson's. So in order to combat that, which I literally do all day, every day, depending on the patient's height, I do like starting out a little lower, because the lower the height of their seat, the more bend they get in their hips, the more, if you can get to at least 90 here, you're able to get the pelvis tilting more forward. When you get the pelvis tilting more forward, your trunk is able to go forward and you get that forward weight shift you need. Most of them are going to need something in front of them initially, because again, they just develop this sort of resistance, a impaired kind of spatial or vestibular perception of where they are in space, and they all feel when I get them here that they're falling forward. That's why they're always resistant. And you're never going to be successful at doing a sit to stand without that forward weight shift. So I have them start out with just something like this, a ball roll, using the big balls, so they're not even getting their bottom up at first. They're just getting used to that forward weight shift. They also benefit from that inner thigh stretch, because when you don't forward weight shift, you are, again, generally your legs are locked in here, your pelvis is back like this, all of this is getting tight. So you're getting them in a position that stretches everything that they need to stretch to get them set up to perform an effective movement pattern for then bringing their bottom up just slightly. So I may be stabilizing the ball or having them roll it into a wall, something, again, they feel safe. It's not going anywhere, but they have to get far enough out, which will be way further than they're comfortable with. And then I tell them, just start to push the bottom up and then ease it back down without moving your hands. The ball should not roll back into you. So if you're maintaining an appropriate forward weight shift, everything stays right there. Your bottom is not going all the way back like this. And it gives them that visual of, if this ball starts to roll back towards me as I'm sitting, then I'm too far back on my heels. I've got to stay forward as I lower my hips. If the ball is too advanced, meaning they just are really unsteady on it, or they have a still some hemiplegia in their arm, weakness from a stroke, and they can't maintain that stability, I will try a rolling table. And some of my patients actually need something a little higher and more steady to begin with, to help them get out of that forward hunched over posture. So, but it's the same idea. Roll it out as far as you can, and then push through your heels to come to stand. The other cue I'll give them is, if they see their toes start to come up, they know that their center of gravity is heading in the wrong direction. As long as you're pushing through your heels and you're coming forward, the balls of your feet are going to stay steady on the floor. So the table stays right out where you pushed it as you sit down. Make sure you get getting that wide angle there. So most of them, they'll go to sit down and they might get this far, but then they start to kind of freak out and feel like I need to. And as soon as that table starts to come back towards them, they know you don't need to do that. You're perfectly safe, and actually safer, if the table stays right there as you lower your hips down. Lastly for today, the other thing is, some people just need a little bit more help because of tightness through the pelvis and the hips. This is a Dynadisc Get it on Amazon, fairly cheap now, $20 or something. And they need a little bit more help getting that pelvis forward. And talk about freaking them out. For somebody who always sits like this, posterior pelvic tilt, all the hip flexors are tight and they're like this, and they don't understand why they have problems getting up. Put them with their sacrum, pelvis, hips centered on this disc. You don't want it under the thighs, because then it's going to have the opposite effect of tilting them backwards. You want them right in the center, so it's actually pushing them forward. It's taking their pelvis and making them move forward. And then the same thing. Plus it elevates them a little bit. So depending on their strength or pain, joint pain in their legs, that might help them a little bit get some of that. They're already in a better position with the pelvis to start the transition. So there you go. And if anybody's interested in more content like this, balance functional training for generally neuro and vestibular populations, I am Kate Mills, Dizzy Doctor. That's just DIZZYDR on Instagram. And then YouTube channel is @Dizzy Doctor, but doctor is spelled out. Thanks.